I would like to call this meeting of the Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee to order at 12:12. We are going to work on the self-evaluation. So we've looked up the SurveyMonkey questions. So the way this printed out, Jess, if you look at, it says like operations and protocols, and then it has a bar graph for each one. And basically, if you scroll down a little bit, so it's confusing because it looks like there isn't a question there, but the questions are actually in the answers. So if you go down below the bar, it says answer choices. So the first response is 3 people chose embedded and sustainable, which means the school committee and the superintendent have agreed to and put in writing operating protocols for the committee, and they are followed most of the time. Periodically, the team comes together to talk about how they are working and to make adjustments. The level of trust between members and the team is high. Then the middle one is well-developed. 2 people chose that. Most elements of embedded and sustainable practice are present, and the committee is actively working to improve. 1 person picked developing. Very few elements of embedded and sustainable practice are present, but most of the members are aware. And then there were 0 comments on that one, so you can see. So if you scroll down to the next one, if you scroll down to the next one because there's comments there, you can see for roles and responsibilities, we're talking about, the top one really tells you what we're talking about. The committee respects management responsibilities and administrative prerogatives of the superintendent. The committee expects to be well informed of issues in the district and to be provided with information to make well-informed decisions. However, the committee refrains from giving management directives to the superintendent. I'm going to click on this comments and see if it pulls it up.
Well, it seems to be.
Oh, come on. Ooh!
You got it?
Did you get it?
No.
Okay.
That same page comes up for me.
Well, let me just...
So maybe because you already accessed it at home.
Maybe
or
so they
something?
yeah, let me go sit over there.
Oh, I can. No,
Are you sure?
yeah.
Okay. So if you look right here, so it pulled it up. So it says, some person wrote, some roles and responsibilities can be unclear at times. Someone else wrote, the committee has a great working relationship with administration and vice versa. At times of peaked communication and interest, both parties have determined the best way to continue to communicate productively and efficiently. I do not feel well informed on issues in the district, specifically the decision to close schools on April 16th. I'd expect much more detail around a serious decision like that from the superintendent to the committee, especially as it left many parents upset and confused. And let's see if I can make this go down. And so this is back in 2021. The pandemic has led to some new challenges for the school committee regarding differentiating governance versus management responsibilities. So the nice thing about this particular setup is that it tells you what the goal is, and then we go through and with our comments we kind of define where the holes are. And like for new members, and this is a tough question too, because it talks about like there's an onboarding process for new members. The school committee handbook lays out important information about the district. The hard one for this one is that it's never the same person who does the mentoring. So for the comments down here, you can see it's been a focus of school committee and the school committee goals. This process has not only grown but become more efficient over the last 12 months. Our onboarding process for school committee handbook are new this year, and therefore feedback, tweaking, and active use of onboarding process handbook will be needed. So if they're still working this, Mike's feedback ideas will help us be better. Oh, because he was in he was the new person. That said, I think the current handbook is a great guide for the new member, as there are many obligations and necessary items that should be done in a timely manner. And then thank you, Angela and Lorianne, for your great work on this front. So clearly, neither Angela nor I wrote that comment. So I don't know if you want to, if we want to go through the questions and decide, because we could stick with this. We could make our own self-evaluation. Susan and I, what we did is the first time we did this, there were way more than 40, I think there's 40 questions here. There were way more than 40 questions, and some of them were completely irrelevant to our district. Okay. So together we went through and said, we don't do this, we're not responsible for this. We got rid of whatever we weren't responsible for. We didn't make decisions based on, we don't like this question. It was simply, it doesn't apply to us. So these are the ones that we kept. It'd be interesting to see if you think that they are, like, here's another question. So like here's not operations. No, we have that. member authority. Embedded members understand that authority rests only with the committee as a whole. While individual concerns or ideas may be conveyed to the superintendent, no action is expected. When issues are discussed and action is taken at a committee meeting, members may express different opinions but abide by the majority of the vote once the committee is taken. Vote of the committee once taken. They're present and they're actively working. Very few elements of embedded and sustainable practice are present. And then the underdeveloped members feel empowered to act individually. Members ignore the chain of command and approach staff members for information about the district. And then you get to comment on that. I mean, it might be worth, like, have you seen a question so far that you don't think we should ask? Yeah, I think they've all been pretty relevant.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. Member authority, we just looked at that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have decision-making. Addressing issues, making decisions. The committee relies on data and the recommendations of the superintendent. Deliberations and decisions take into consideration the impact decisions will have on the district as a whole, including student achievement, fiscal matters.
It's relevant.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with you. Chain of command. Members observe the chain of command in addressing constituents or concerns. Members direct constituents to the place where their issue can be best addressed. I think that's appropriate as well, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So self-evaluation. The committee has a regular process for conducting a self-evaluation. The results are discussed and used for the committee to reflect upon its practice, determine areas that could be improved, and create measurable goals for improvement. We could keep that in there. I think we're going to get very poor on that because we didn't do it last year.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay. That just shows that that needs to be a priority next year. I don't think we should not include it because it didn't happen. I think it's actually important to keep it in. Efficiency, I think that's important. Agenda topics and discussions focus on matters within the purview of the committee and focus on student achievement topics. Presentations allow the committee to monitor the progress towards district goals and build an understanding of issues within the district, which is meetings are lengthy, disorganized, and focused on administrative and management issues. I think that, yeah, I think it's appropriate. Agenda planning, it's a smooth process for agenda planning. A year-long agenda is developed. Presentations are focused on student achievement and help members understand progress towards goals. I think it's going to be another area that's highlighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No year-long agenda that I'm aware of right now.
No, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't do one. Nope. So that's going to be something that we could probably, let me write that down. Just, that's something that maybe Megan can work on. Or we can even just.
So I think there's like the budget year-long agenda, there's
Yes.
the superintendent evaluation agenda. So
Well, we
maybe-
had before, Susan created a really great graph and it would talk about what we would do at each time. Mike may actually have a year-long agenda because I know that there's already certain ones that are like budget meetings and different things like that. So we should find out if we have one. But we should know that right now. But it would highlight the need for it if we don't. And everybody should be given it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, like in the drive. Like a
Yeah,
working
absolutely.
document, you know.
Yeah, maybe like a
Draft or whatever.
you know, it might be good to do like a beginning packet. You know what I mean? Like not a packet, but like or folder that has, because I know I keep going in there looking for our schedule of meetings, and darned if I can find it.
I think it's only on the website. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's in the drive somewhere, but it's
Oh.
under a weird title. So that would have like year-long agenda. Just writing this down as ideas.
Yeah.
And our schedule. If you want to read the next one, the format.
Yeah, I think that's relevant because we have workshops and stuff.
Yeah, and I think we could probably use some more too. Be interesting to see what you bring back from MASC next week.
Yeah, I was just looking at the agendas. Like, oh, there's so many good ones at the same time.
I always makes me crazy. Couldn't you spread them out?
Right, or like videotape them.
That's a good one.
Mhm.
Because that's important. That's something we should be rating ourselves on and paying more attention to.
Yep.
Which you're very good at that.
Well, I think, you know, I think community engagement's important, so
I agree.
having people have information before the meeting is useful. Let's see. Yeah, I think that, I mean, we all have
Yeah,
subcommittees
subcommittees,
that have
yeah.
to bring stuff back. change educational goals and
Mhm.
strategy, so. I know the superintendent's goals, but I don't know if we have goals like this.
We don't. We did, but we don't this year. And we did we last year? We did last year, but then I think we were making progress with them, but then, no, last year would have been Mike, right?
Mhm.
I don't think we did them last year.
What were they like the year before? Do you remember any
It
of
was
them?
community engagement, so we were going to different meetings and things like that.
Mm.
And what happened was when we went from a 6-person to a 5-person committee, it was suggested by Jeff that we drop our goals and focus all of our energies on just trying to meet the other things. But we did still go to some meetings, but they were good goals that year.
So, I mean, I think maybe include that because it's something maybe we should bring back.
Yeah, I think so too.
I know, like, it was
It's more
mentioned, it wasn't
focused.
sustainable to do all those meetings, but maybe look at what was not sustainable and try to come to a middle ground.
I think that's a great idea. Because I know going to those meetings was really helpful as a member, and it was really appreciated by those committees or those the people that were hosting the meetings, because they felt that we valued them, and we do.
Yeah, like a 2-hour PTO meeting last night that
Oh
I
my
heard
goodness.
about. I mean, I
Yeah.
was looking at their agenda, I was like, oh, that's a lot.
That is a lot. It's a long meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. It tends to
Goals and goal setting.
I think that's important. I think that's very relevant right now too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, you can keep going. Because I know these questions. I mean, I'm remembering them as we go along.
I think
Yeah.
that's important because to align our goals with superintendent's goals and then district goals.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's data, which is where the presentations on like AIMSweb and MCAS
Right.
come into play.
Well, and afterwards, when I'm going to try to get this document where, well, actually, the comments are all in the final document, but you might want to, when you're home, go through and look at this and then look at the comments. Or you can look at the report. I'll put the report in there too for a public document so the public knows too. But the comments really, I always encourage people, you don't have to, when we do this, the way we send it out is you send it out and you have to do it in one sitting. If you walk away from it, it doesn't save it.
Ugh.
And you want to give yourself
40
like
minutes.
2 hours. It can take that long, it can take less, but you want to make sure you have that time, because the more comments we have, the better it helps us to decide what our goals are going to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, definitely. The most important part is probably the
Like, especially when you
comments.
see like this many people did Bennett as sustainable, this person did underdeveloped, like that's important. Why did they feel that way?
So goals and budget.
Yeah,
Feel that's
yeah,
important
transparency for the
too.
budget, yeah, mm-hmm.
Which I think meeting with the town, is a step in that direction.
Oh, I thought that was a really great meeting, yeah.
Regularly monitors and oversees the budget during the fiscal year. I think it is
Yeah.
happening, but it's important to be in there.
Right. Well, and I also think it's important that as we go through it, we notice things that we think we might be able to do better next year, or that we're overdoing, and that's where it comes out, is in this, because where it's anonymous too, or you go through, because you can never tell, there's just 2 comments, but you don't know who they're from. Like, even if I click on this, I can't tell whose it is. Even as we were reading the other comments, I was like, is that one mine? Maybe it's that one. Well, that one's definitely not mine, because it said my name, so.
That's your consent agenda, right, the warrants?
Well,
Within the-
well, the warrants would be, we changed that. We used to get a big yellow folder at the meetings, and it would have, was that ever passed around? I don't think so. It changed during COVID. That's a good question for me to ask. So what it would be, the warrants are, so if Nancy's paying something,
It's in the consent agenda, like, it's
Yeah,
in
so it's in the
there,
consent agenda, you're right.
drives. Yeah,
So it
it's
would
in the
be,
drives, so
yeah.
it's downloaded, or well, it's
and I
uploaded,
think,
whatever.
was Megan the treasurer?
Yeah, she still is currently. think she should pass that on for
Yeah, I don't think
sustainability.
Yeah, and I don't think you can be treasurer. I don't know if you could be both treasurer and chair. But I agree, mostly for sustainability.
Yeah.
Were you interested at all in being treasurer? Or district clerk?
You're a great clerk.
Oh, you're so sweet. But I would, whatever you would want to do, I'm happy with.
You're more organized than I am in that.
Because we are both driving the chaos.
I think, because I was just talking to Megan, I was like, you can't do it all. So, in order to sustain that chair position, and whatever help we
that
can
would be
give.
great.
So, yeah, absolutely. And it's between work and home, so.
Oh, that's perfect. You're right.
Yeah.
Which makes it much more helpful.
Yeah, and just Wednesdays would be the difficult day if they need something signed. But other than that.
Yeah, usually they're not particular about having it signed on a particular day, so. Yeah, we do this. I'm thinking about asking Mike if he wants to go back now that he's not chair to being chair of the policy committee, because he was really good at it. He has a brain that can go through like Susan's, and he was like, we worked on this, we forgot this, we need to do this. I think he would drive that bus better than I do. I'd still be on it, but it'll be interesting to see.
So I know like MASC, gives us suggestions of what to edit. Is there like a review process outside of that, or?
There is. There's almost like a calendar that says different ones and when they were reviewed and when they should be reviewed. Right now, we're so overwhelmed with MASC ones that we're not getting to that one. So that would probably be what we do next.
Is it usually more heavy in the beginning of the year with those recommendations, or is that just whatever?
Yeah, it's whenever they come out with them. Last year it was September and March. This year it was September. So it'll be interesting to see if it's September and March, because I only joined the policy committee when I became chair. So it's probably twice a year. But in the meantime, like when things come up, like there was a field trip one that Carol wanted put in there because someone had reviewed it. Yeah.
Overnight tour.
Yes,
Overnight
exactly.
field trips, yeah.
So those kind of pop up and take over too. So yeah, I think that one's good though, because it's important that we talk about, having a cycle too as well.
Yeah, because before I joined, someone said the bullying policy has to be reviewed every 3 years, and it had been more than that. And
Yeah.
Yep. So I guess, yeah.
Yep. No, that's good.
So maybe not having.
And maybe that's
October
something
on the calendar. In terms
Well, I'm going
of
to put
regular
down
review.
policy here, because that's something that we should look into, is making sure we have that calendar. And that would have been me that would make sure that happens. So, yeah, same.
Regularly discusses and approves full range of district policy documents.
Yeah.
So that particular question,
Mhm.
question 23, would probably, I know like the student success was going to review the handbook.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I know our handbook is outdated as well.
Mm.
When I came on.
Yes, you helped me with that.
So it's hard if you don't look at a document for a while,
Well, see, and that's why I think this particular Survey Monkey is so helpful, because it reminds you of all of the things. There's so many swirling pieces and so much going on that you get wrapped up in what's immediate. So that's why I think this helps us, because when you look at the end, you're like, wow, we dropped the ball over here. We're killing it over here. We dropped the ball over here. I need to look at that too. And I need to make sure when we update the handbook, we keep the old version and don't just resave, because we need to see how it's progressed. So, old version, right there.
Yeah, have like the highlighted portions that were deleted, like have the edits on the side.
That's a great
before
idea.
formatting,
Yep.
maybe.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
And so I know the Tohoto handbook was a question. I don't know if the elementary handbooks need to also be kind of reviewed with that lens, different lens.
Yes. That's a good point. Okay. Yeah.
So probably the contracts only come up every so many years, right?
Yeah,
With the-
so sometimes a contract will come up when we approve it, like, sometimes there's contracts and sometimes there aren't. There will, because I believe, is it is it next year or is it this year? No, it's in the, I think it's in the spring. Are we 2024?
In a year.
Yeah, in a year. Okay,
I
so
can say.
they have another year. And then the MOUs we do too. That's when there's a change in the contract and the BBEA brings it to us, or we might have an MOU with some memorandum of understanding. Might have it with the police department over something, and they bring it to us, and we agree to amend or not amend. I think we usually do that in executive session. So yeah, I think that's a really important one.
With the MOU with the police that was signed, was that in executive session that was talked about, or was that open meeting? I don't recall.
Do you know what? It's funny because I don't remember. I feel like we talked about it in an open meeting, but I don't remember when we signed it. Very fuzzy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Policy best practice. So ensures policies reflect research, best practices, data and research, a belief that all students can learn. I think that's important. Okay, so now we're changing, I think now we're into personnel. So superintendent evaluation. Well-defined process and timeline for evaluating the superintendent. The process includes setting clear goals and expectations, discussing evidence that will be provided over the course of the evaluation cycle. Goals are regularly discussed. So I think that's important that we have that in there. Personnel hiring. Committee understands its hiring authority for the positions of superintendent, assistant superintendent, business manager, and special education director. In addition, the committee respects the superintendent's responsibility and authority to hire and evaluate administrators and principals, and the principal's responsibility to hire and evaluate staff. I think this one would be important for the community to understand, that we only hire superintendent, assistant superintendent, business manager. That's all we do. Like the teachers, the administrators, that's all the superintendent's job. And it'd be interesting to see how members feel if other members have gotten involved in the muck with that. I always find that, and the thing is, you never know what people are going to think. They might feel one way, or they might feel another.
Yeah, but I mean, the committee is parents are on those committees, and then there was also superintendent.
Right.
Or, I mean, not superintendent. One of us was on.
But someone might look at this and say, you know what? I think another member got too involved in. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And didn't respect those lines, or we were involved in this committee, so there was a voice, but it was respect. We understood where we were, because you never know what you're going to get from that. But I think it's always important because you have different perspectives looking at it. But it's good to know, we have to know where our boundaries are. Yeah. Personnel collective bargaining. So the committee engages in collective bargaining process with the goal of using the contract as a tool for further student achievement in the district. Yeah, that's important. The committee understands and considers fiscal impact and the impact on students and employees that the collective bargaining agreement represents. So that's something we had to consider when we were talking about when we did the raises for the teachers last time. They got a significant increase, but while we were trying to be fiscally conservative, the argument was all of the surrounding schools paid more, and to be competitive and to make our teachers feel like we appreciated them and wanted to retain them. So it was for both new hires as well as retention of the educators that we had. So we had to balance that out. So this one is personnel employee relations. School committee fosters open, fair communications with the collective bargaining units, and the superintendent is included in, supported in this effort. The committee expects regular updates from the committee chair and superintendent regarding collaborative efforts with collective bargaining units to resolve concerns. So this it depends on if we, that was big the year that we did this because we were doing the contract. This will either be it depends on if we have these issues or not.
It's interesting there's no NA choice.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because if we truly don't think it's applicable in this year, but because I think this is two parts, right? So this is saying, is there open communication, and then
are there updates? I'm going to ask Dorothy if we can put an NA option, because I agree, because it will, at this point, we haven't had to do this year. We may.
Although, but there has been communications between the committee and them, so
That's a good point.
So maybe not having an NA option, it forces you to
to actually
whatever
really,
extent,
yeah,
pick one.
that's a good point. So I'll put this in parentheses. If we don't want to do that, we won't. So I'll put it in parentheses, meaning we're not interested in it right now unless we see something else. So personnel support. The committee has policies in place to ensure that the district hires, retains, and evaluates highly qualified staff. The committee approves adequate budgetary resources to provide professional development and support to ensure staff have the necessary skills and qualifications to meet the needs of the students. That's important.
Mm-hmm.
Law and ethics. Oh, these are all important. Open meeting law. Meeting is held in compliance with the open meeting law. Yep,
Yeah.
that's important. Confidentiality, that's also important. Members are diligent about maintaining the confidentiality of executive session. That was really tested when we had the superintendent issue. Law and ethics, or put to the test, I guess. Roles and responsibilities. Committee members know and understand the roles and responsibilities of the committee and of individual members. No efforts are made on the part of individual members to influence the actions of the superintendent and or staff. Clearly leaving the day-to-day management of the district to the superintendent. That's also important. Conflict of interest. Committee members avoid conflicts of interest. As appropriate, they seek advice and or file disclosures to ensure they are following the laws. All committee members take conflict of interest ethics training every 2 years as required by law.
Oh.
That I need to double check. I think I just upped mine the year that you did, so we're both, we do next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next fall.
I'm gonna put that on,
So not just onboard.
nope. Because when you were doing it, I had to redo mine. I'm gonna put that on Nicole's radar, because she, Christy used to keep track of that, but it should also be on everyone's radar. Law and ethics, respect. Committee members treat each other with respect and civility. Members debate the issues, not one another, and focus on the work of the district. I think that's extremely important rather than individual pet projects. Yep. This one is, these are great ones too, community engagement. You can tell which ones I'm really passionate about. The committee makes an ongoing effort to provide information to the community about the achievements and challenges of the school district. Communication plans exist to reach stakeholders through multiple media and policies, clarify parameters and approaches for the committee's public communications. So what I love about this, so you can see, I know people at home can't, but they're all over the place. There's one embedded and sustainable, one well-developed. Was there three developing and one underdeveloped? What's nice about this is where there's not always a meeting where you can say, hey, I think we should be doing this, or this is a good idea, or here's another thing that someone had mentioned to me that I didn't think of until this question, But when you see this in the comments, this is where suggestions can be made too. This typically has become a goal over a couple of the years that I've been here, because you can never, it's always something we're working towards being better at, because you want the community engaged. Community feedback. The committee actively seeks community feedback, to ensure that the vision and values of the community are reflected in its decision-making. That's an important question. Community engagement, building support. The committee actively seeks support and involvement from local stakeholders, including local businesses, nonprofit, and service organizations. That's important. And I think the comments on this one said we need to do more to involve local businesses, yeah.
Last year, certainly that happened.
Yes, that's a good point. Community engagement, municipal. The committee works to build partnerships with municipal officials, resulting in collaborative relationships, as well as understanding of and support for school needs and issues. That's important. Information. The committee communicates with colleagues across the state to stay abreast of trends, emerging issues, and policy solutions that impact the district. Most committee members attend conferences or topical webinars and follow discussions on professional listservs or read publications during the year and report back to the committee. That's important. Regarding legislative updates, initiatives in other districts, and relevant resources. Yeah.
So maybe that could be like an agenda topic, after public comments or something. Like, are there MASC updates that the whole committee needs to be aware of, or
that's a good
legislation
idea.
or something like that?
And this is question number 39. Question 39, MSC updates. Let's see, so what's here? You know what, I'm gonna screenshot this. So that I know. Oh, thank you so much. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. That's a really good idea. I like that. And then I think, oh, that's it, 39. Now,
Yeah, so
can you think of, so I guess what we can do is we can stick with this, but the other thing, maybe what we should do for our next meeting, or we can even think of it now, is if there's any other ways that we should be evaluating ourselves. Because I'm sure there are. Like there's basically, I believe there's four like headlines or 4 categories. So it's operations, and then operations, meetings, and I think the next one is, let's see. Oh, so goal setting is another one. So I guess there's more than that. Budget, yep, there's more than that. Policy. See, that's how long it's been since they've done this. Personnel. Law and ethics. Community engagement. You see, yeah. So is that 6?
that's 8.
8, there we go. Yeah. So, we could add anything to those. We could do another subheading if we think there's another area that we should be rating ourselves in.
Do you have the original format?
You know what? I was thinking that earlier. I'm gonna email Dorothy and ask her original.
Or is there a current one?
Survey
This is
Monkey.
2021.
So this is nope, so that's the last one we did. We didn't do it in 2022 because we didn't have goals.
But I meant originally this came from MASC, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
that would have been their 2021 version.
Yes. Well, it would have been ours. So Dorothy sent us a Survey Monkey. We did it that first year. Susan and I then went through and we were like, because some of the questions people were like, we can't answer these. But times have changed, so those might be relevant now. So what I'm going to ask her for is the original Survey Monkey.
Then maybe a 2023 version too.
Yeah.
To see if
And then, 2023 as well.
21.
And maybe that's what we can do next time, is we can look at the other questions, and, I apologize for my alarm. It's my alarm to remind myself that I have 15 minutes left. So we could use that to decide if we should add anything. And in the meantime, if there's anything that you can, like, I usually do my best thinking when I'm driving and when I'm falling asleep at night, because that's when everything stops. So if we can think of other things that might be either, weaknesses or areas that we could improve on, or something that we should be just rating ourselves on. I think it's important that we add that in. We could even, ask people if we, out in public, like, hey, if you think of anything, or I'm hesitant to just put it out there as like, what do you think we should, well, I don't know, maybe not. What should we be rating ourselves on? I feel like it can become a big, hard to control. Why don't we start with this?
So yeah, you're thinking like community survey.
Yeah, I was going to say community survey on what we should be rating ourselves on. But maybe that becomes a part of this too. Maybe part of our self-evaluation is a community survey.
Yeah.
I don't know that they could do this particular one.
But certainly in terms of.
We could create it. I'm going to also ask
Engagement.
Dorothy if she has if they've ever done a community survey.
When is this due, I guess? I know we talked
So
about
usually what we do is, this usually comes out right before we do the superintendent self-evaluation. Superintendent evaluation. So I think we do that, I believe that timeline is, so we do this like very beginning of April, I think. And then we write the report, and what we do is we look at what our strengths were the time before, and then the time after, and then compare it to this to see what we did well, what we didn't. It'll be interesting because we 2 completely different committees now. Well, not completely different, but just different. but we have 3 people to write the report, so it wouldn't be terrible. So maybe that's what we'll do for next time.
Just thinking, like, if these are our goals or what we're rating ourselves on,
Mhm.
if we see, flipping through there, if we see deficits,
Mm.
so like maybe, making this past survey and saying these are likely the questions that we're going to be answering in April, like where do we see deficits that we need to improve upon, and then maybe we can consider a community survey.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But again, that could explode
Well,
in terms of just like the amount of data to go over.
Right. That's what I was thinking is how to get a hint, because writing the superintendent evaluation is really robust, shall we say. There's a lot to pull together. It's hard to do not hard. It's just it's an important evaluation to do. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. There's a lot of reviewing. Personally, I like to print everything out and shift through and circle, and we have the same kind of, we operate the same, and that becomes a lot for just doing the survey. And then when you're done with that, then we pull everything together. But we can put that into pieces. It's just kind of self-fill. So I don't think that would be so intensive, because there's 3 of us too, and we could either take sections or we could pull it together. Usually what Susan and I did was we would delegate, like, okay, you're going to do this section, you're going to do this one, then we're going to come together and we're just going to make sure the format is right, and so we can look at that as well. But so what we should do
if that is something that we want to do,
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine it would probably be like November, December that we'd want to do that. So if there was, like, in terms of like community survey,
Mhm.
so if there's things like, we could ask for constructive criticism on ways, these are our goals, or whatever, however you want to phrase it.
Mhm.
These are things that we're going to be self-evaluating in April for the year. Are there constructive criticism suggestions that you feel that we could improve these areas, I guess?
Okay. Okay, so here we are, so we're November, December, we're already November right now.
Right, yeah.
So let me just look at this. So do you want to try to, do you think you could meet the week before Thanksgiving?
Tuesday, Sean's supposed to get his tonsils out, so I can meet on Monday.
Yeah, I know, so you don't know, yeah.
Monday afternoon, maybe?
I mean, we could always,
Um,
the other thing too, Jessica, is we could always meet the last week of November, then we still have December. And we could, even if we do it in December or if we do it in January, it still gives time.
Yeah,
I mean, I could do next week too. It's a short week, because I think it's Friday. Friday is a Veterans Day observed, I believe.
Yeah, I'm at the conference Wednesday, Thursday.
That's right. No, you have a really busy
Yeah.
week next week. Yeah, because I wanted to go, and
It's a lot of days.
yeah, no, I was hoping that my work would slow down, and it's.
Yeah. I mean, the 16th is busy, but I mean, Friday, the 17th, I don't think is. I'm aware of.
Because you're more open at the end of the week, correct?
Yeah, Thursday,
Yeah.
Fridays, but that
Yeah.
16th is.
I usually am too. It's funny how.
chock full of appointments.
Yeah. This is my week.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to try the 17th?
Yeah, and then, so that would be, we'd be looking at what the other questions that we were taking out, right? Or
Yep.
like if there's a 23 version.
Yes. And then we can discuss a community survey. I can see if Dorothy has anything. We can talk about what that might look like and how we might do that. Because that would give us time to actually maybe even get that rolling so that it would actually happen. What time would be good for you on that Friday?
The morning's probably better, just
Okay. Do you want to do 9, 10?
Yeah, 9.
9 is good, okay. So we'll do next meeting. We'll clear it with Megan. Meeting November 17th.
That's what she's in Disney.
She's in Disney.
Mhm.
I forgot about that. Do you want to do the last week of November? Or December 1st?
Yeah, actually the conference was canceled. I was going to go to that day. So.
I was almost going to say good, but then I was like, that almost sounds like
It's
good.
getting rescheduled for March. So. Yeah, and then if we have a short meeting on the 28th, then we can, then that can be discussed too. Because I know we have Mars, but
we have Mars on the
because
28th,
not
yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do what happened before with that like 30-minute meeting before the Mars training.
Oh, right, and talk about what we're gonna, talk about like the timeline and all. Yeah, that's a good idea. So did you want to, well, that'd be good, because then we could talk to the committee before we move forward. I like that. So let me write that down over here as an action item. Mars 28th. Do you want to meet later that week then?
Yeah.
Do you want to do the 30th or the 1st?
The 30th looks scheduled as of now, and the 1st does too, so I'm flexible.
Yeah, same. Are you Thursdays or Fridays better for you usually?
I mean, I haven't made any appointments, so
Yeah, me neither. I have something at 2 o'clock on Thursday, that's it. Do you want to try to do Thursday? Maybe we can see if we can get it at the town offices, so it'd be easy for Brittany.
Sure.
Let's do that. So see if we can do.
Would that be a true
November 30th.
statement, Brittany?
Would that be easier for you?
Sorry, I was zoned out.
Oh, no. So we were talking about possibly our next meeting being on a Thursday or a Friday. Would it be easier for you if we chose the Thursday so we could possibly do it at the town offices where you wouldn't have to?
Town offices
Yep, always
I like.
preferred. Yep. So let's do that.
And 9?
And let's go for 9, and if not, are you free like 9 to 12 in that area? So what I'll do,
Yeah, until
I'll reach
3:30.
out to Allison and see if it's open during that time. And you said till when?
Till 3:30.
Till
essentially,
3:30?
when I have- Well,
Okay.
3:20 when I have to run the kids.
Okay, yeah,
on the bus.
yeah. So, okay, so I will check with Allison to see if we can use that. That will make it a lot easier. Okay. I think that's good. Anything else?
I think so. And then in terms of the superintendent evaluation timeline, are we?
Yes, we're following that. So
Okay.
at every meeting, one of us needs to update, or, well, I should probably update because I'm the chair, but I'm not married to it, what we're doing. So I talked with Carol yesterday, and at I believe it's our December meeting. Let's see, let me look at the timeline in here. So November, okay, so at our November 14th meeting, she is going to, we're going to vote on, she's going to give us an update on her goals. We were supposed to vote on the goals, and it never made it onto the agenda, and that was actually, it was a miscommunication. I thought Mike was going to tell Nicole. As chair, it was my job to tell Nicole. So I said, I'll fall on the sword, it's me. So she's going to update us on our goals.
We didn't vote on that?
No, we agreed to it, but I don't see it in
Actual vote?
yeah, I don't see it in our actual votes.
Huh.
Will you go and take a peek back?
Yeah.
I just don't see it in the agenda. Maybe I should go and check the minutes. I'll double check the minutes, but I said to Carol, are you going to, because she has the option in November to provide revisions. I remember one year when we had COVID, Susan had suggested to Jeff that he pare his back a little bit because of all of the, we just kept getting, and we had to keep adjusting on everything. And so he did at that time. So when I saw Carol yesterday, I just said, this is what our meeting's gonna look like on, this is what we're supposed to do in November. We only have one meeting besides the Mars one, that we have the time for it. Do you feel that you need to amend? And she said, no. And she's going to make the folder with the different goals, and she's going to put.
Oh, each,
Mhm.
oh, that's
Yep.
beautiful. So each
Which-
goal has its own folder.
Yes,
That's
and
beautiful.
she's going to. She already
Drop
has,
stuff in there.
yeah,
Oh,
she already has
that's
that in there, which
gorgeous.
is so,
Okay.
so I felt too, I was like, oh, did you hear angels singing? I do.
Right.
So that's what we're gonna do at our next meeting, and then I'm gonna just remind people of what is going to be happening in December.
I don't
So-
know if that 14th meeting is going to happen, though.
I don't either,
Yeah.
that may be, yeah.
So maybe it could be very abridged. I mean, if
Yes.
nothing has to be amended, she can just see the documents.
Yeah.
The evaluation that we had looked at the last time, is that, maybe that should be put in that folder, whatever meeting happens next, be it the 14th or the 28th, that document be in there, because we'll have to eventually, all of us have to evaluate her on that form, and so
Yes.
it's really nice
And I think
to see
that's,
how that aligns with her goals.
I feel like that is December. Yep. The chair or evaluation subcommittee provides each member of the committee an updated hard copy of this document for easy reference. So what we should do at our meeting on December 1st, or the November 30th that we're gonna have, let me write that down. I will have that updated document so we can go over it to make sure, updated
That aligns with her goals.
document. Could you just text Megan and tell her that we're going to be adjourning so she doesn't need to rush? Updated document for November 30th. Eval rubric to present in December. And even if we have to do a quick meeting or something, we'll figure that out. We can talk. The good news is the chair is on this committee now, so we can talk to her about where the meeting will be, and how we can do that. So I'll make sure that I have that done for that one as well. And what I'll do is before the meeting, I'm gonna try to do all of this like this weekend while it's fresh, so that it gets in there, and then the documents are in there, so you can look at them on your timeline. I just feel like when it's still fresh in our brains, we're better than when we look at it right before the meeting. And then it's an option. You don't have to, but at least it's in there. And then I'm better with that. So.
And then maybe the Student Success Subcommittee can have a meeting to gather the different handbooks.
That would be wonderful.
Because I know Janelle has to look into, or tell us what legally has to be in terms of policies. It has to be in there, like the bullying policy or
Yes.
the other ones, like sexual harassment and stuff.
And
So-
she is so good at that. Like, she's so organized. Yeah, that'd be great if you could do. Thank you for noting that.
Yeah, because that's, a question.
Actually.
So.
All right. Okay. So I think that's it. So I'm going to, it's 1 p.m., I'm going to adjourn this meeting of the Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee. Boom.